How we doing, everybody? This is Let's Be Real Brad, and today I'm going to be talking about the Halloween 1974 classic, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is directed by Tobe Hooper and had a bunch of no-name actors thrown into this movie for a scary, menacing, and diabolical hour and 24-minute horror film that still resonates with me today. One of the reasons why I think this movie still hits me today is because of its low budget quality. This movie had no budget at all. It was pretty much under $1 million. And so now when you get more of these Blu-ray restorations, they still look good, they still look a little more clear, but the cameras they use just weren't as good, and you can definitely notice it when you watch. It's very grainy. The colors aren't all there. But what happens is when you start watching the movie, especially once things start to go, you're terrified. I mean, some of the stuff is just so disturbing because it feels like a home video. It feels like someone literally just recorded this and threw it out there, but not in the found footage Blair Witch Project way. Of course, the big positive is Leatherface. I mean, Leatherface is just really, really scary, and you look at this mask and you're just like, oh, that's just terrifying. It looks so crappy, it looks so disgusting, but it really adds to this movie and with the tone of this movie. The fact that Leatherface just doesn't have control and just does things on command is just the most terrifying part. Also, in the beginning of the film, there's this long narrated text in the beginning that is all colored in yellow. You see the grain popping out of the screen, and it just really sets the tone of this movie. It feels like something old. It feels like something I shouldn't be watching. This movie really started the slasher genre, along with another movie that came out the same year, Black Christmas. It's the movie that really originated all the cliche slasher films, along with John Carpenter's Halloween just about 5 years later. I think what this movie deals with is about mental illness, and it really makes this feel so real because sure, there's so many over-the-top sequences, but to be honest, it's not as gory and bloody as I originally remembered it seeing a couple years ago. There's a lot of subtle things, a lot of things that are implied within this movie because they had such a limited budget. But it makes it all the more scary and all the more frightening in your mind knowing what things probably went down in this sequence. You know, when I first watched this movie, I thought the characters were really terrible and this movie moved pretty slow. Watching it again for the third time, this movie was so much faster and the characters were actually pretty fine in this movie. I actually didn't find their acting really that bad at all. I think it's because watching this again, it seemed like the movie just moves so much faster. You don't really focus on the characters that much. They really get into it. They establish the basis of what is happening, where it's going, the subtle hints that are happening within the movie that if you go back, you'll see the setup and the foreshadow. And then you just get really right into it because this really isn't a lot of fluff to the movie. The people you don't really care about, none of them really have arcs. But this is one movie that I can give a total pass on because the movie is so short and it's just trying to be about these kids that get stuck in this crazy situation that no one deserves or should ever be in their entire lives. Every single time I watched it, and just knowing that there's just no safe place and that every time they go is going to be something bad, and that's why it works on so many of those levels. This movie is a massive influence to the horror genre, really creating the slasher subgenre. One of the best horror icons in Leatherface, and it still is the formula for many horror movies now. If you have never seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, please check out this movie. I'm going to give this movie a 10 out of 10. Have you guys seen the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Let me know down below if you've seen any of the sequels, the remakes. I would love to hear about it. And as always, please like and share the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. It means the world to me that you guys are liking my videos. Subscribe to my channel. You guys are the best. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.